What's up YouTube, this is yugidragon here. Here I'm doing a deck profile of the Amorphage May 2016. It's been a while since I did a video onto my channel, but I'm glad to say I'm back. And yeah, this year I'm playing Amorphages. And I'm not going to do too much explaining. I'm just going to get straight into the deck profile, explain some of their effects and some of the card choices that I made. If you want, you can subscribe to my channel. I will show a tutorial on how to play the Amorphages and stuff like that. So without further ado, here's the Amorphage May 2016. So first off, I'm running 2 Amorphage Goliath along with 2 Amorphage Sloth. So when Amorphage Goliath is in your pendulum zone along with Amorphage Sloth, basically Amorphage Goliath plays like a Macrocosmos or a Diffuser in the deck, and Sloth plays as a Mistake in the deck. These cards cannot be pendulum summoned, so I do tend to clog with them sometimes, and that's why I just choose to play these at 2. Next, I'm running 3 Amorphage Gluttony along with 3 Amorphage Lechery. So when Amorphage Gluttony is on your pendulum zone, monster effects cannot activate except for Amorphage monsters. So he's pretty much like the skill drain of the deck. And with Amorphage Lechery, basically it's like the Naturia Beast. Neither player can activate spells except for Amorphage cards. So yeah, with along with 2 Sloth and 2 Goliath, these cards also cannot be pendulum summoned, but these cards can be played on the monster zone. So when they're flipped face up or when they're pendulum summoned, neither player can special summon from the extra deck. And they do have Gluttony does have 0 attack, so I do have some cards to help him stay onto the field. Instead of flipping the monster, which does take time, by then your opponent will just spam the board, and it's relatively hard for the Amorphage monsters to get over big monsters. So yeah. Next, I'm playing 3 Amorphage Pride and 3 Amorphage Wrath. So when these monsters are on the pendulum zone, Amorphage Pride, you do not take effect damage, and with Amorphage Wrath, neither player contributes summon monsters, which is relatively good in the Monarch matchup. And these cards can be pendulum summoned, so you can use these cards for the cost. These do have a cost. On your standby phase, you must tribute 1 monster for your Floodgate to stay on the board. So you will be tributing mostly Pride and Wrath, so you could just pendulum summon back onto the board. And yeah. Next, I am playing 2 Amorphage Envy and 2 Amorphage Greed. When Amorphage Envy is onto the pendulum zone, neither player can activate Chain Link 2 or higher. And with Amorphage Greed, he's pretty much the royal decree of the deck, so neither player can activate trap cards other than Amorphage cards. Next, I'm also playing the 1 Pain Draco Overlord. Basically the boss monster of the deck. I was thinking of cutting him, but yeah, he does have a relatively good effect. You can bring him out with Amorphous Persona, and when he is ritual summoned, your opponent skips his main phase 1, and neither player can activate Exceed, Synchro, or Fusion monster effects onto the when this card's on face up onto the field. So relatively good. I'm also running, that's it for the monsters. Onto the spells, I'm running 3 Amorphage Infection. My favorite card in the deck. Basically, when a monster is when a Amorphage monster is tributed, destroyed by battle, or by a card effect, you can add any Amorphage card to your hand. So you could just set up your scales and whatnots. And yeah, so this Infection. And also it gives 100 attack boost for each Amorphage card onto the field, so do keep that in mind. I'm also running 3 Amorphous Persona. So Amorphous Persona, basically when an Amorphage monster is tributed, let's say if you have a monster on your pendulum zone and you tribute it with cost, you can draw a card immediately. And all Amorphage monsters gain 300 attack, and it can, when this card is in the graveyard, you can banish monsters and tribute monsters to bring out Pain, the Draco Overlord. So relatively good. I'm also running 2 Terraforming to search my persona, and 2 Moon Mirror Shield. The reason I run this card is because sometimes I'll open up with a hand. Let's say I'll draw into a greed and a sloth. So, like I said, setting the monster is relatively slow. By then, your opponent will just spam the board with huge monsters and stuff like that, and it'll be hard for the Amorphage monsters to get over those monsters because they're relatively weak if you don't have Lysis or Infection on the board. So what I would do is just play a Floodgate onto my Pendulum Zone, and then I'll normal summon a Greed, then I'll play a Moon Mirror Shield onto my monster. And in this way, my opponent will have a hard time getting over Greed while my Floodgate is in presence. So yeah, that's why I think Moon Mirror Shield is relatively good in the deck. So it's up to you. You can play Draco Connections. I see some deck profiles playing Draco Connections and whatnot, but yeah. Moon Mirror Shield has been working pretty fine for me. I'm also playing the 1 Upstart Goblin and 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. That's it for the spells. Onto the traps. I'm running triple Amorphage Lysis. So this card is relatively good. I see some deck profiles running this at 1 or 2, but Lysis, it's if you know how to really properly play this, you can set up your pendulum scales and just search it's basically protection if your opponent tries to, let's say, MST one of your Amorphage monsters when you have a Floodgate on your pendulum zone. You could just activate Lysis, and you could just put the another Amorphage monster onto your pendulum zone. And not only that, all monsters on the field except for Amorphage monsters lose 100 attack for each face-up Amorphage cards that you control. So it's relatively good like that. And I'm also running 3 Mirror Force. And basically, Mirror Force just serves a purpose like Moon Mirror Shield. So I will play a Floodgate, and I'll normal summon, let's say, a 0 attack Amorphage monster, which I really hate doing. But I will set a Mirror Force to enforce that Floodgate. So yeah. So that's it. That's it for my Amorphage deck profile. Like I said, subscribe to my channels to for a tutorial on how to play the Amorphage deck. I hope you guys enjoyed my deck profile. This is yugidragon here. Comment, like, subscribe. Peace out.